Welcome everybody to the first 2026 Lower Benton Township Budget Workshop. We do have 4 scheduled. Hopefully we won't need all 4. That is the hope. I'll just set kind of the agenda for this evening. So this evening we'll be talking about fire department and the country ambulance, along with general fund, sewer fund, liquid fuels fund, and debt service. Okay. So Bruce, I'll turn it over to you to start the show.
All right, fantastic. So as sure we'll get the slideshow started. As Commissioner Higgins has stated, we are in our first component of our budget workshops. I'd like to introduce, especially to the board, we've had our transition occur in the finance department. Our new finance director, Ms. Anne-Marie Dobson, is not here with us. So hopefully, she will be ready by next year, so no one has to be bored and hear me talk through 3 more workshops next year. So with that,
Big round of applause.
yeah, everybody's happy with that. So as we kind of went over the side component here of the agenda, we will talk a little fire, we'll talk country ambulance, we'll get both of these gentlemen out of here, because their time's valuable to them. We'll kind of go to the overall fund review where we are, the general fund, as we stated, sewer fund, and debt service. You'll notice the board's been provided with your workbooks. I apologize for the delay. We were still finalizing some additional documentation in them. And hopefully that will assist you with any good discussion. What we want to look at on the 22nd, we want to talk about liquid fuels fund and capital projects fund. Hopefully that'll give everyone enough time to digest that before I propose our final meeting. So 3 out of the 4 on the 5th. We'll talk solid waste, open space maintenance, and just a general follow-up budget review. So that's the kind of the agenda for the next couple of things. Before we get into this component, I'll just jump in with fire, both fire and EMS. Thanks to Chris and Joe from their respective agencies. We've continued to have ongoing discussions with budgetary needs. You'll notice in your general fund 01 part of the book, under that fire and emergency services, that 411 account, these items, that fund both fire and the EMS component are in there. You'll notice in the request, and we'll talk fire first, and I'll let Chris go if that's okay. After some lengthy discussions on the fire side, we're happy to see their proposal and items that I'm hopeful that are of assistance to the department. One being the recruitment and retention. It's an item that you'll see in your line item 411 505. We've worked to adjust that up, the financing that the township provides. As I understand it, I'll let I don't want to steal Joe's thunder. It's a positive here that the request made from the department has been increasing, and that shows hopefully that there's been an increase in volunteerism and responses to those emergencies. So it appears that the intent of that program is working, as the request for funding has been increased from the department.
So we did take a look at what our neighbors are doing and try to find a path forward that works best for us and for those that we serve. Beyond having a 30% increase so far this year in call volume, we've actually managed to increase by 4% our overall turnout and 8% of our turnout at nighttime. We made changes to our incentive program that allowed us to get more people out the door, more people on the fire truck. And I think we've done it at a cost that is far less than what people around us had to do. We also managed to move our roster. We were in the high 50s. We're now back up to 75 individuals. So the trend in the state is losing volunteers, not able to get people out the door, and with some policy changes on the incentive program. We made a few certificates that we really want people to have worth more money, which made it more beneficial, and by more money, I mean $1 or $2. And we don't get paid per hour, it's a pay per call, so they could be on a 4-hour call on sauerkraut, and they're getting paid that $15 cumulative of their certifications. But making a few tweaks, we've been able to greatly decrease, people showing up, so.
Yeah, and I would note, we've also increased, slightly the overall reimbursement program for general expenses. The request received was 175,000. We increased to 155,000 right now. We're working with the department too to make sure that we're mindful of expenses they may have. And that number may change by the time we come back with a final budget, but we're hopeful that, you know, we're in a good spot for that side of it, so.
And if I may explain, part of that shift, there's some costs that we have traditionally covered that we've not turned into the township before for reimbursement. And regardless of whatever the line item is, what we get reimbursed is based on what we paid out. We don't just get a blank check and spend it. We turn our lots of receipts to the building. But we provide justification for every dollar that comes in. There's items that have been covered by relief in the past, so like any vehicle that's owned by relief can pay for their service. But with relief is going to be paying back $100,000 a year to the township for our radio program. We want to try to shift things around so that we're not burdening our relief department, or relief association. And they're also actively working, we've been replacing 6 sets of fire gear a year. We have the promise that we have PFAS for a year, some of our older stuff, but we're running as fast as we can away from anything that we have a question about what was in that material. So, so between the expenses that relief has picked up, we're just trying to shift and make sure that we're covering everything out without, like we haven't made contributions to our traditional contributions to investments so that we can work on buying fire trucks. We've cut that back to eat on other costs that we're incurring, so.
And we are working to be mindful too. We know, we've been approached about some apparatus replacement, fleet plan from the fire department. The township, for those that aren't aware, we do own 3 vehicles, the aerial, fire police vehicle, as well as the pumper tanker that was purchased through the township. We're looking at potentially assisting, or at least at this point, the request for aerial apparatus, the 75-foot element of that fleet. We know, you know, we're around 5 years until apparatus gets ordered and built. So we're planning early on about where that's going to take us, you know, the anticipated $2 million cost. So it's something we want to make sure we're working through and have some significant planning, so.
And that support is greatly appreciated because it allows us to be able to save and buy the other trucks so that we're not coming to you every year for a fire truck, so.
And I would note to the board too, part of the funding for this category, of course, we do have a current services agreement with the Borough of Macungie. You'll notice that it's reflected in the intergovernmental services line item of revenue in the general fund. That $90,000 we use for the workers' compensation side, as well as to fund the incentive program. So we look to follow those dollars back into service. There also is, as Joe's mentioned, the radio project through the county, the upgrades to that system. You know, the county did offer 0 interest financing for a period of 5 years. You're going to see that reflected throughout the budget in our debt services fund, as well as, you know, the miscellaneous revenue category in the general fund that is the payment from both fire and EMS to pay for that part of the debt. So those are a little bit of items that are altered compared to normal, but we've accounted for that part of the project. So, you know, once again, we've anticipated, we don't have a firm number from the authority. That hydrant number is always a big component of both maintenance and rental of those hydrants. I anticipate potentially another 5% on top of that $200,000+ item. We are at the at the mercy of the authority for them to set their budget. Also, you'll notice the firefighter relief line item, just for the general public, that is a pass-through of monies received from the state. We pass that directly on to the department, and that money is audited significantly. And so that is an in on the revenue side, and a pass-through straight out to the fire services. So unless there's any questions on fire, I think we've kind of covered the requests and where we are.
Any questions from the commissioners? Okay. Want to move on to?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris, I don't want to steal Chris's thunder, he asked for 10 minutes, and to go out there, so by all means.
Well, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. You know, each year I come here and I normally start with a little joke about how I come here twice a year, once to give our annual report, once to ask for money. But as I was thinking about that today, I deal with these folks a lot more than that. And I thought it would be interesting for you to know that this is not just twice a year that us, and I'm sure you're the same way, but I wrote down a couple of ways that we interact on a normal basis. So, for Denise and Rebecca in recreation, we do community first aid and CPR classes here. We hold some other classes here. We have some meetings for our staff here. We say, hey, can we come borrow a room? Yeah, no problem, whatever it is. They help us get into the various buildings that you have in the township. So you have about 25 AEDs that are out there that we come out quarterly and check. And she holds all the keys. So we stop in here, go run around and get into all of those. Vince and Deb, addressing issues. There's lots of private gates in the township. Many of them have different ways to get in. Some have a code, some have a siren, some you have to stand on one leg and spin around 3 times. And when they don't work, we call Vince and Deb and say, hey, we got a problem. Renee and Lorraine worked on the newsletter that we send out, and we try to get some more fundraising and tell people what we're doing on there. Renee worked with the radio project. Dan and Doug, hey, these trees are whacking our animals. Can you come out and get the trees cut? Snowstorms. We're going on this call, like right now. We get a plow out there and make sure we can get through. A truck just backed into our stop sign again. Do you mind if I throw it in your pile over at the township building? I got a load of dirt on my trailer. Do you mind if I drop it off? It's kind of constant. Little piece of metal I need to cut for the UTV. You got a guy who's good at metal work? Yeah, you kind of guy. I mean, it really is. We're kind of always working together. In the finance department, we did some purchasing with the township this year on those AEDs and things, and kind of helped out, make sure we're doing it the right way. And of course, we're working with Bruce all the time, long-range planning, financial requests. Hey, we hear this development might be coming. What could that impact EMS? How could that impact the fire company in the years to come? So I think that I'm involved in numerous other municipalities for this organization and as a volunteer fire chief. And this cooperation and working together is unique. It is not normally like that. Short of me not recognizing a commissioner at a baseball game, other than that, I would say that that working together is excellent example, excellent benefits to your citizens in this township. And I just thank all of you for dealing with me when I call with all my little problems, and thank you for your support. With all that said, I probably should talk something about money. So we provide our annual reports. We're audited, third-party auditors. We switch every 5 years. So this year's we're back to Campbell and Eurosits or whatever they are over there on Cedar Crest Boulevard. We provided that. I think you got that previously. Gave where we are this year and a rough draft for next year. Last year we laid out a very detailed 10-year vehicle replacement plan, which at that time you graciously approved to begin budgeting, and there was funds set aside in last year's budget, part of our allocation, and same for this year moving forward. So half of our request this year is to go towards that ambulance purchase coming up in 2028. And the other half goes to just our general operating budget and little projects and things we do. 80% of our income is revenue from calls, so insurance payments for calls. Another 15% is community donations and subscriptions. The last 5% of that is what you folks provide and what we're able to get in grants and other sources. And I used to say that 5% is what made us be able to do the extra stuff, be able to check the AEDs and go on calls and go on like in these special rehab calls where we go out to like Hamburg to help them with their fire or something like that. But what has changed in the last 5-10 years is that, I mean, 5 years, I would say, is that, that money no longer helps us do these special, without that money, we couldn't survive. Like, that's just the way that the industry is changing. So one of the biggest factors, problems we have, just like every organization, is finding people. So earlier this year, I kind of ran some numbers on our people and pay rates and comparing us to others or whatever, and I found some interesting bits of numbers. So now for the finance folks, you might find this industry, the rest of you may be like me and maybe I just have a boring life, but, so consumer price index, 2020, mid-2020, mid-2025, so inflation. Anyone know what that percentage is? Inflation, 5 years? 24.82%. 25% increase in the consumer price index since August of 2020, middle of 2025. So I want to see how are we doing with our folks? Like, do we increase their pay enough so that they still are making enough money to pay their bills? For our 15 employees that have been with us for those 5 years, their average rate went up 32.3%. So we're doing it. We're doing it. We got to compete with others, the cities, large EMS organizations. So we think we did that. When you look at our income per call, which is what pays for most of our bills, you know, we can raise our rates higher, but insurance companies pay what they pay for the most part. Our average income per call increased 25.4% between 2019 and 2024, which are the years we have the final, you know, total numbers for, which is pretty close to the inflation, which is good. What we're not keeping up with is capital purchases. So we talked about the ambulances, and I threw this numbers at you last year, but I'll say it again. October of 2020, we bought an ambulance for $185,000, $185,865 as a matter of fact. January 24th of this year, we ordered the same exact ambulance, $272,000, $272,540, 47% increase. The last truck took 14 months to come. This truck took 39. We'll take 39. So it'll be here at the beginning of 2028. Upper Saucon, they buy little fancy ambulances than us. They bought in 2021, same year, same manufacturer, just little. They got air horns and more flashy lights and stuff. They paid $260,000 in 2021. They ordered a truck in August for $425,000. Identical truck. 39 months, 63% increase. Some other increases. Equipment that we see we're going to need to replace in the future. 2017, we got an AFG grant. It's a federal grant for 4 power cots and load system. The thing we put the patient on to take them to the hospital and it loads it into the ambulance. The time of the grant, they were $17,000 for a cot, $21,000 for a load system. They have a useful life by the manufacturer of 7 years. We're at 8 years. As they break now, we make a decision. Are we going to buy a new one or are we going to spend money on this thing that's nearing its end of life? But we've kind of put that number at $5,000. If there's a $5,000 repair, we buy a new one. If it's less than that, we fix it. The cost for a cot is $32,000 today. The load system is $30,000. That's 88% and 43% since 2017. Our cardiac monitors, gotta have one of those in each ambulance. Last one we bought was actually just last year. We got a federal grant for an additional one to add so that all of our ambulances and our supervisor's truck has one. It was $38,000. That monitor, of course, is the last of the version 15. So we go to the newest, latest, greatest version 35. $57,000. For the same, does the same stuff, a little lighter, you know, a little fancier. 50% increase in 1 year. So all the numbers relatively boring. Bottom line is we're getting by. Our numbers year to year are good. We continue to break even, put a few dollars away for these big purchases. You're already helping with new ambulances. I think in the years to come, all of us are going to continue to need to look at if this continues. From the emergency vehicle side, fire side specifically, but there's actually currently federal hearings and a class action lawsuit to figure out why prices went up so much. They had a bunch of consolidation, bunch of certain companies buying out lots of other companies, and there's been a whole lot of looking at that. So we may see some relief there, possibly in years to come. The bottom line is we absolutely need your support. We appreciate your support. And not just the financial, again, all this stuff that we do every day is really necessary. So I thank you for that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, Chris, thank you. Questions from the commissioners? All I'll say to both of you and to your respective departments is thank you for taking such good care of, our residents. When we hear people talk about safety in general, a lot of times we're talking police because they think of that as safety. You're the biggest part of our safety expenditure, and that's for good reason. Because you're responsive, you're well trained, you're professional, you do everything that you could possibly need from both the fire department and an ambulance service, and we are forever in your debt for taking care of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and you're welcome. Happy to serve.
You guys are free to go.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have an outstanding evening.
Have a great night.
Yep, take it easy. Thank you very much. Easy. Nice to see you.
Name is Lively.
All right, I can't top that, Mr. Greg, super exciting, so.
Anybody have any no-nos for me?
Yes. We're all ready to talk. So what I always like to do is to just make sure we kind of have a general overview before we jump into fund components. Just so the board can understand where we are. I do have this in order, but I will have the book. And just a quick review. Of course, we have the general fund, and we'll talk specifically, but we're at $2,654,000 roughly. On revenues, we're at $14,230,000 in expenditures. We have a difference of, at this point, negative $575,000, so we'll need to potentially utilize fund balance as we move forward. Just in comparison for this year, I would say we were looking and anticipating potential to use $878,000 in fund balance. However, I believe we'll probably finish the year positive $1,800,000. So my estimates are definitely conservative. We want to make sure we're monitoring where we are. The solid waste fund, $5,595,000. The sewer fund, $5,566,000. It's just slightly up from where it is this year. Revenues and expenditures balanced. Debt service fund is always balanced because what goes out is what comes in. And that is coming from the general fund, the capital budget, and the open space fund, just about $3 million. The capital projects fund, $2,555,000 revenue. We're going to anticipate spending a little over $3,428,000 on that. The open space fund, $2,390,000 in anticipated revenue, $2,630,000 in spending. For a difference of $240,000, we will need fund balance out of that account. Talk about that in detail, but with the purchase of land and the financing that we did, it was necessary to move up that expenditure and pay back debt. Open space maintenance fund, funded out of the open space fund, $160,000, all transferred from that. Liquid fuels fund, $985 in revenue, and that number will get revised. We've received our official state number today. It's somewhat less by about probably 25,000. So we will revise and update the slideshow when we talk about liquid fuels next time. $1,125,000 in expenditures, and we'll need some of the $1.2 million fund balance that we believe will remain at the end of the year. So we'll jump right into the general fund. That is what we call internally Fund 01. That $14,230,000 plus spending component. It's about $203,000 more than this current year's budget. So not a lot of change there. We don't see or anticipate a huge difference. So most of that, if you look, and we'll see in that, transfer to, the debt service fund now, the interfund transfer, is that $127,000 we mentioned in the radio, services project. That is, money received, and then money going back out. And then just miscellaneous, line item adjustments as we look through, each department. Also to note for the residents, because I know there's definitely confusion, the general fund is not supported at all by, the tax that you pay, on your property tax. So property tax only supports the capital budget and projects associated with the capital budget. We are fortunate, and we'll see where revenue comes from. We have a strong earned income tax, receivable, and that is the bulk of how, we accomplish our mission in the general fund. So always a point of confusion with residents. We'll make sure we clarify. So all of those things, what do we do with the general fund, right? We have recreation, we operate this building, we plow streets and roadways, we fix parks, we enforce code and work through land developments. Also, financial management, so the financial admin section, the township administration part, all comes out of this component and fund. So what do we do as a township and as part of these things, right? What do we strive for? And we'll look more in depth at each department, but we complete significant infrastructure improvements, right? Both for financial oversight and township administration, we manage those components. We always look at proactively, and as we did in 2025, proactively manage staff. As you've seen Ms. Dobson this year now, we've been going through some transitions for retirements, and we're also continuing to evaluate, as we did this year so far, make sure we have effective staffing levels to service the residents, especially in public works, as we've noticed some retirements there, to make sure we don't miss things. We continue to update our technology, both by scanning our documents this year. That program continues, as well as all of our technology you see in this building, like TV screens, our broadcast, all laptops and IT. I'm proud to say that we actually, unfortunately, overran our budget a little bit in staff training, but I'm happy to say that we received some additional safety training this year. We're able to go to conferences for recreation and finance, and we've well-rounded our staff. I think what we've done to strive to support them and make them the best, I feel, functioning staff in the valley, and continue their highest level of professionalism. We also look to improve our efficiency, things we do with township residents and stakeholders, from our visitors to the permit office, as well as receiving and responding to complaints and concerns, registering for programming and recreation, all of those things we continue, and I think build upon that for this year. Our big thing, of course, increase the quality of life for township residents. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we offer the best community in place to live, and make sure we're focused on that long-term planning for what the community expects and where we're going to go. And of course, we maintain our strong financial responsibility, both from the board and their support to the staff, as we continue with our Moody's AAA rated entity, which not many municipalities can claim. So what do we want to do in 26? Much like we are now, right? Work on those long-term planning components. We have in the budget an update to the comprehensive recreation plan, which it's been a while since we've looked at that. We're working on our fleet planning, facilities, stormwater infrastructure, all of those things that we want to make sure the board's aware. Continue with our draft plans, so you know where we're going and can give us feedback that we're in the right direction. Once again, proactively manage that staff. We know we're working on our succession planning for various departments. We want to make sure that, we don't, end up with, shortfalls where residents might see a decrease in service. Continue with that promotion of safety, and job training. I always, say, you know, the board has supported us to make sure, at least, me in my role, to make sure I'm surrounded by the best people. You see them here this evening. I don't know what I'd do without them. And hopefully the township residents, realize the quality of people that we have here. Work on our technology. We know there's things, we have to look at cameras. More ways as we update our meeting rooms to send that message out to the public. Working on our strong financial position, always, as you heard from, Mr. Greb, these expenses, as they continue to compound, we want to make sure we're still in a proactive position with maintaining where we are financially and our lending rating and everything else that goes with that. And of course, right, why we're all here, continuing to strive to make Lower Macungie a great place to live, work, raise a family. So those are kind of our goals as an overreaching component. So we talked a little bit about property tax not being used for revenue of the general fund. So how do we receive money to make this go? So the board's always familiar with this, but I like to make sure for the public there's an understanding. There is a property tax, however, it comes in and goes out. It's for the library. It was a voter approved referendum to support that library. So you'll notice 660,000 comes in and then is transferred out. Those local enabling taxes, as we say, earned income tax is the big one, right? Local service tax, you know, real estate transfers. So as property transfers, that the township receives that part of that realty transfer. We expect it to be at 925,000. I usually have this number fairly set low, knowing the expectations or unpredictability of the market. I think, you know, we're trending to be around about 1.4 million in collection in that line item for this year. So I believe, being conservative, if interest rates stay high, we kind of turn over inventory a little lower. It's mindful to keep that number where it is. We've increased our earned income tax. We see about 2.5%. We think it'll be that component this year. So we're up about 364,000 in our 2026 budget. We think we'll collect, you know, approximately 7.6 million for this year, if we trend appropriately for the last quarter. Local service tax, that component of people that work in the township and pay that $52 for their employment, that goes towards services like fire and roads and those kinds of things. 75,000 up from the 75. We think we'll collect about 810 this year, so we definitely have a conservative cushion in case people become not employed at the township any longer. Business license and permits. Of course, there's a cable franchise fee. We see as people cut cable. I'd like to keep the previous years in here. You know, one time we were over $500,000 in receivables from that. We're now predicting about 380,000. So that stream is continuing to dwindle. We'll keep our eye on it. Fines, which is very insignificant, about 10,000 for things like false alarms for fire and code enforcement type items. Our interest side, we're down from 800,000. We're predicting about 700. That might be somewhat conservative. We do have some investments currently at the 4% range. We know as we watch basis points being chopped down, we anticipate probably 2 more basis points, and we've revised that number accordingly. We're hopeful, you know, most of those are locked up for probably, you know, another 9 months, but that stuff is going to run over here in February, March. Some of the investments we do have. Rents, we did increase the one item for land rental. That is our farming type component. Our facilities special projects coordinator also will have a detailed sheet for us on current rents at our various locations. The township does manage several properties. that a third party does. We've been looking to adjust rents there accordingly. State grants are another big component of, as we said, the fire relief comes in and goes straight out. State funding is also part of the pension aid, approximately 275,000. We collected 293 this year. In the PERDA, that's the public utility side, small category. That McCungy Fire Services Agreement money we show as the intergovernmental 90,000. We believe that that agreement hopefully will be extended, so we can anticipate both a spring and fall payment to make those dollars. Charges for developer applicants for all things zoning, land development, things of that nature. Charges for services, safety, a huge component, which is also sometimes difficult for us to predict. Those building permits, we know, we're looking at, and we'll see in the community development side, some changes, anticipation of where that is. That's a hard number for us to grab, because we have no control over where that development goes and the need for permits. Culture and recreation, all of those things for program fees, swimming fees, everything we generate on that side of it. Reimbursements other, and that is the category you will note has the contributions from the fire service and EMS for the radio project. We shoved in miscellaneous and other reimbursements. The streetlight tax, just about 300,000. That's a tax bill that gets sent out to property owners that funds the electricity. This year, as we said, we're looking at a reserve transfer to balance the budget, 575,000. I think we'll be okay on where we are. I truly believe we'll be in a spot to not have to use those dollars. And why? What is the cause of that? We're transferring $900,000 to capital projects fund to try to accomplish various missions. As we've seen, increase in recreation contract with the pool management company of another 25,000. These $50,000 items add up, and that's where we end up. So once again, I try to be very conservative. I don't want to kind of scare the board on where we are, but I also want to be a realist on how much that. I always think it's good and easy just to kind of show you those flows and how they are just in a pie chart. Not going to get into all the dynamics, but you see that earned income tax is a huge component for us. Real estate transfer, and then those business license and permits for the cable franchise, and that component of building permits. So everything else is fairly small and insignificant, but people need to understand as the market goes, and individuals in the community earn dollars, we see that earned income tax that supports this. And then also, how do we spend our money, right? The pie chart I think is always helpful. It's pretty evenly distributed, right? Most of it's employee costs, benefits, salaries. Public works with our biggest component of things they do on their various divisions, recreation, all of those things were all the way down to IT 200 grand, things of that nature. So always like the pie chart. I think it's easy. With that, we'll talk kind of specifically about departments. I always try to make sure the public understands how departments are staffed and what their role is here. We have department heads here in case there's questions from the board about how we got to kind of our numbers in the book, or any initiatives that think we need to make sure we're including. So with that, we'll talk a little bit of code, community and economic development, that component. We have a staffing there of 10. Vince is the director currently. We have a planner, we have a code specialist that answers and responds to code complaints. We have a part-time code specialist that does that. We have a zoning officer that works through zoning permits, zoning complaints, and gives feedback on land developments. We have a sewage enforcement officer who's funded by the sewer budget, a part-time fire inspector, and then administrative support with our 2 full-time staffing. So what did we accomplish, with the dollars that the board allotted for this year, right? We continue to update our, zoning with our administrative update that's been before the public. We're working on, some interactive technology for our zoning map, to the component on the website, so residents can see that easier. We're continuing to digitize all of our land development files. We think that project's going to take us probably another 5 to 7 years for the volume of land developments at, $50,000 per year to get that all, into the new world of not having to read paper. We're working on our field inspections every day for those code complaints, building inspections, have our permitting through a digital platform to make it a little bit easier for inspection management, to try to be more responsive. We looked at the International Fire Code this year. The board supported the adoption of the upgraded code. We brought back the township plan. Our search concluded, and we were able to staff that position. And then we've been working through various code updates, including chapter 18 for sewers that you'll see, 15 for streets and traffic, and some other items we'll have before. When you look at the department, what do they do? What do they process? We've seen 9 new land developments, 2 conditional use applications, 12 zoning hearing board applications. We're still working through closeout permits that people just never come back and follow up with. So the department chases. We've completed the 2015 permit list. We're now chasing people from 2016. What we've looked at, and these are stats year to date. So 28 new home permits, 351 residential alterations, 205 zoning permits, pools, sheds, things, signs, things of that nature. 4 business use, some street trees flow through, on-lot sewer, 140 commercial permits. The department's seen 1,000 applications at this point. They haven't all been issued, but 1,000 packets have been submitted, which I feel is pretty substantial for the staffing level we have. We worked on our MS4 as we have to submit to the state each year and give them a report for our compliance. What do you see with that inspection? So what are we dealing with? 954 residential inspections related to permitting, right? About 5.3 per day year to date for the staff and how they're handling this. Everything for building, new construction, things of that nature. We've worked 179 fire inspections with our one fire inspector. He continues to build relationships in the field and expand the program and work with fire too. So 319 code complaints processed and handled. I still continue to say Mr. Schwartz in the code office has resolved complaints without taking people to the magistrate. He is definitely a professional at what he does, and to think that he handled 319 code complaints this far so far is amazing on my end. So 45 on-lot septic permits. So we're looking at perk testing, new system installs, redesigns. We verified 185 septic pump outs, 150 hours of training, 5 new certifications. So we keep our employees certified in the highest level, and we encourage them to get there so we can efficiently serve the public. Where are we going in 26 with our funding request? Right, we want to continue our zoning look back. We're looking to close those long-term projects out that are still sitting. Saldo updates for the subdivision of land development, our education and training component. Strive to get to our next level of professionalism there. We're going to need to update the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code. That update was supposed to happen this year, but the state RAC committee is hung up there. So that'll be a process with legal. And update the property maintenance code at the same time to the 2021 document. We're looking to try to get a rental registration process as an initial component. How many rentals do we have? Where are they? What's the contact number? And how do we get our hands around it? We want to look still at the sewer grease trap inspection ordinance and how we can manage that, knowing that we have some businesses and entities create grease, gets in our sewer lines. We didn't have to jet out our lines with all that grease and blockages. So, how can we look at that program? And then we're looking through our stormwater ordinance, to update how we currently have, maintenance responsibilities for those private, stormwater facilities. And how can we, ensure that they're taking care of those, and making, them, function as they should.
Bruce, one quick question. When you go back one slide if you could.
Yeah.
You talk about, rental registration. We're talking about, residential rentals, like homes that have rentals in them, not ones that we own and maintain.
Correct, specifically, and, we see that as it's impactful to the department as, we have a code complaint potentially. Where is this? This is now a rental. How do we find the owners? How do we make sure that we're, have good contacts to help us solve concerns in a quicker basis? And, down the road, and I don't think in 26 we're ready for it, as we look through the staffing plan. I think we're gonna recommend as a staff for a rental registration, and inspection program. Where we're making sure certain fire safety and life safety items are compliant in these rentals. So, we know, we don't know how many rentals there currently are. We can anticipate through the census. We're a little over 2,500, I believe. But actually knowing where we are, is going to help us then tailor a program for, long range. So.
And I would assume that also impacts like garbage pickup, things along those lines, where if we think it's a single family home and it's actually 3 rental units. The garbage should be more expensive than it is currently.
Yeah, that's correct. We recently discovered a place that, had 2 dwelling units on top of a commercial, unit as well, which the township was never billing for sewer and or trash for those services that were offered, as we thought it was one dwelling unit, or well, one business, commercial now. So yeah, it triggers other things to make sure, landlords are both providing, and we're appropriately built for the service of rent. So yeah, good, very good point. Gonna change that. Alright, so I always try to look at things that have changed or highlights, compared to, what we currently have budgeted. And call out those items in your book so that we can always reflect on them. So fire inspection fees, as we talked about, that 179, fire inspection fee component. That's a decrease, to 45,000 from 68,000. We actually cycle, various businesses throughout the inspection process. This cycle, actually has way more businesses than next year's cycle, so we anticipate we'll collect less revenue doing less inspections. So, we're going to try to even those out, so we see a more, even instead of, that 179, maybe it's 150 and 150 each year. But that's why you notice a change in that. Residential building, we've increased that, pretty substantially from 175,000 to 270. We know we have several, residential, developments coming online. We anticipate, that need for inspection, and then those permits, associated. Commercial, the same light, we see that a reduction potentially in commercial. We're not seeing, quite as many land developments now related to that. So we're reduced from, to 255,000 from 285. We think it's gonna be a little bit, slower. And, we think with the transition part to support the department, Vince is gonna be recommending some additional, changes to fees, the fee structure for permit. So, probably a little bit more on the residential side, knowing that we, have to try to keep up with, our department costs. So, the interesting part about this is, it's all economically driven. If things change gears, and people start to buy quicker, or build quicker, or decide they wanna do that renovation at their house, that drives the need for permits, in our office. If those things slow, and we don't see any of that, so really, this is our best guess, to the board, in our document. So, very fluid. However, I will say, it's very, besides salaries of our internal staff, what we receive, it directly relates to what we spend. As far as inspections to our third party, and things of that nature. Of course, always with the chart, easy to see, that big part is those residential and commercial building permits. Everything else is fairly limited. So, if we trend down on that, we have to look at how we view the department and what we do. So kind of the expenditure highlights, things we've adjusted. We reduced our part-time staffing, in the permit side. We were running, and planning for 2 part-time, more 1,000-hour, a year components. We know that we have the fire inspector in there as well. We feel that the need for the second, part-time, person that we have has cut back, so we managed that, and reduced that section, of the budget. We've also seen with the, alternate electrical, we're gonna need to increase that slightly to make sure, if on the residential side, the residential electric is done by a third party, we're capturing that. Our commercial inspections, of course, decrease as we think commercial will be, decreasing. I would note for both of these though, especially for the commercial, permits when they're issued is when we receive payment. As things are built, especially on the commercial side, like right now, a big apartment complex or things of that nature where we've taken that revenue money in this year. We still have to pay our third party when the inspections come due, which could be in 26. So we have to be mindful of that, and how many inspections we may have going. Now, we proactively, and Vince works with our contractor key codes to make sure all of our billings are up for quarter, so that we're not caught with catch-up billings in the new year where we might not receive that rent. So we're trying to be mindful of that cash flow. Commercial plan review, we actually increased that. We just saw, and Anne Marie, pointed out, we've been spending more in there than what we've been budgeted over the last couple of years. So trending, we wanted to make the adjustment. In planning now, the 414 line item, that is just kind of the transition. We had full-time planner and full-time zoning officer in there. As we move to part-time planner, as you see in item 115, we reduced 112 significantly to account for that, but we also included that planning salary in with that part-time line item. So it's kind of where we are on the big highlights for planning. In the planning study, as we said, that's kind of just so everybody's aware, that takes into account the cost for starting comprehensive rec plan. We do have a grant into the state for potential funding up to 75,000 for that plan. We anticipate 150,000 minimum for what we've received proposals for. So if we get the grant, we have full funding. If we don't get the grant, our anticipation is we start that plan, mid-year next year, see where we are, and then budget again in 27 to finish the plan. So we should hear from the state in November. That item might change, and our grant item might change as we get an update. So once again, just kind of pie chart. Of course, the biggest one, salaries, and our third party inspectors. So basically where we are, as we said, changing economic conditions and our staffing plans. We have the flexibility with that part-time staffing to dial things back if it slows. We think we're in a good spot. Building permits for the most part haven't changed too crazy from our previous years. And we know that there's less land development plans right now in the key for 25 that might be less building 26. So that's kind of what we have for community economic development. We have Vince here if there's questions or concerns, things we might need to budget, or items that we've missed. Everybody good?
Any commissioner questions for Vince or Bruce or anybody? Okay.
All right, we're gonna talk recreation now. Denise is here for us, recreation director. Just kind of the background on the department, handles all things, special events, community days, tree lighting, programming, the community center, field rentals at parks, programming for kids and adults, renting pickleball courts, maintaining gym memberships, all of those things, summer kids camp. And how do they do that? I go director of recreation, assistant director, rec supervisor, 2 full-time community center administrative staff. We have 5 part-time guest services staffing, and then our seasonal summer camp and Camp Lower Mac. We see upwards of about 75 to 80 part-time employees that we process through. What do we do in 25, right? Add a new program offerings, jiu-jitsu, martial arts, Zumba, Aqua Zumba, working on our tree lighting event, community day again, where we saw thousands of people come through this building. Work on our 13th pajama program, 5,814 pairs of pajamas to kids in need since the start of that program years ago, right? Troop support, working with Emmaus Rotary to have an impact in the community and collect, over 1,000 food items to those in need in the school district. Our annual craft show, which continues to grow. Over 3,000 membership visits. We can use them for those members holding membership cards. 425 class sessions, over 1,000 participants. Summer playground registrations, right? Up from our previous side, right? Quarry Park playground reconstruction project. Staff here has worked to make sure that project's gonna be successful. It's gonna be ready to go for trunk or treat here this month. Continuing our long-term planning needs for parks and playground replacements, specifically East Texas next year, Wild Cherry in 2027, Rodale and Hidden Valley in 28, Prater Park 29, Shepherd Hills 2030. So we have long-range planning going on. We continue to work with Public Works to find and identify those areas that may need maintenance and that would adjust the scheduling to make sure we're delivering a quality playground. We worked this year to onboard our recreation supervisor staffing position. That's an additional spot for us this year, and it's been working well moving forward. Free concerts in the park, Shakespeare play in the park, family movie night, all at the Hills of Lockridge, free events for the public to get them engaged and provide things for them to do, on their weekends. Some of the highlights continue that we look at. Our partnership to provide a Lower County Youth Association, as we keep track, over $240,000 worth of free field rentals that we've provided to them in usage. 20,000 plus in gym rental for them to have programming here at this facility. We've provided almost $11,000 to the school district for lacrosse field usage and cross-country meets at Camp Olympia. And our programming revenue, right? We're up as you look through programs and emerging programs. Right now, year to date at 230 plus thousand, up from 115,000 in 2024. So we are seeing very hard work by our staff and working to make sure that we're providing for our residents on the recreation side.
Bruce, just real quick on that. So you mentioned East Penn School District with lacrosse and cross country. Baseball is not in there.
We don't have, I don't have the baseball number included, but we do provide it at the church lane as the exclusive field.
Here's my one concern, and this is a small one, but it's just one of these things that goes the wrong way. The youth football program in town plays their games at Emmaus High School, which is what the Emmaus High School football team wants. But they're also charged like $4,000 a year to play games there because you have to have certain staff on board. In my mind, we should be deducting a part of what we give the school district for free for what they're charging one of our youth systems. I think we have to get a better understanding of exactly what that dollar is. But, it should, I know that they give free gym and things like that to LMYA and what have you, but there still is a fee that they're charging to use a facility that is paid for by taxpayers. And with their taxes consistently being risen and ours not, to be giving them an extra break when they're charging our residents an extra $4,000 or whatever it is to use their facility. I don't want to jeopardize their ability to use it because they pay for it out of, but we don't pay for it, they do. But I think, as I've said before, there's very, very poor intergovernmental cooperation, mostly on the school district side, in not engaging with us as their largest sending municipality. So I think those are conversations we need to have with the superintendent or the school board, whoever's going to.
Yeah, I think we have a great relationship, out there, we meet regularly with the athletic director, and I think that that's something we definitely, can make sure we pay.
I mean, when they have games, they require an electrician to be on staff to run the scoreboard, they require custodians to be able to clean up, and I get all that, I mean, they gotta pay salaries, but they also can lean on volunteers to do a lot of that and cut back on the costs.
That would definitely be in our discussion for
Thank you.
that. What are our goals for 26? Work on that comprehensive plan, you'll see park signage updates continuing in the capital budget. Increase pool memberships and our revenue from pools. Look at our new community partnerships, people that may want to sponsor recreation events or facilities. Look at our increasing revenue for programming, maybe potentially have tournaments, using both gymnasiums, things that are going to affect those revenue items that you see for providing. Work on fireworks display for the 250th anniversary, what we can potentially have with that. Going to coordinate the installation of West Coastville softball field lights, as you'll see in the capital budget. Manage the East Texas playground replacement, which is also in the capital.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
So it's my understanding that we're replacing the playground at East Texas in the current spot it's in, but not with the same type that we've replaced the last two because of tree coverage, not same, I mean like ground material. We're looking at a mulched area as opposed to that soft surface.
That's correct. So we haven't, in the budget right now, we're kind of leaning towards going to, the mulch, facility. However, we had discussions on moving that kind of in front of the parking lot. We lose the tree cover, the shade. Is that better for people at the park? Is it better to be in the shade? So we're kind of evaluating where it is.
Well, and my point is that we've talked about taking out the tennis courts because they're not sustainable because of root infestation from, the tree line. Would it make more sense to move it back that way? I mean, the other two, we did two last year, neither one is in the shade. So the shade shouldn't be a huge thing for a playground. Quarry is a little more in the shade than not, but it's still not completely shaded. I think if we're gonna keep a standard of what we're putting in, I'd hate to see us take a step back just because it's right where it is. On top of the fact, you wouldn't have to remove the playground while you built a new one. So it'd actually still be there at the time, and then you can make that area something more attractive for the gazebo or whatever we decide to do there.
Yeah, I think, as a staff, I appreciate the feedback because, we do wrestle with, where these things can go. And knowing that those tennis courts are coming out sooner than later, Public Works has them scheduled for Google. We will have the area. We always have concerns of, those potential bad golfers that may, put golf balls towards, the playground.
But we don't worry about the tennis players, the baseball players, right?
Yeah, well, they have a fence up. I mean, they have a 10-foot kind of fence. So,
We can keep the fence up. Maybe put a net up, I don't know, but it just seems like, it seems safer, you're further away from the road. It keeps the standard that we're trying to,
set up.
live up to, especially as we replace play sets and eliminate others. Plus the response we get from what we've put in so far is tremendous.
Good to hear. I think, that's good to hear. We'll work on, where we are with our capital plan too, so we can update that. Budget revenues, as we said, swimming pool fees, memberships, Program fees, rental, we have rental facilities both at this building, Camp Olympic, Hills of Lockridge that generate those rental fees. The library provides some reimbursables to the township, garden plots and field use. You see kind of where these are in the breakdown. 87,000 on our playgrounds, 65 on our gym rental. 242,000, as we talked about, an increase in that programming from 150,000 this year. Gym memberships, we're recommending, we'll see that in our fee schedule, an increase of $5 for our non-residents to 25 per year. It's not a huge category for us, $4,500, but we think that that's only fitting. You see those revenue items here, programming, facility rentals, swimming pool, things of that nature.
I may have missed it, but did we have what the total revenue was from the summer camp program? The new summer camp.
Lower nine?
Yeah.
Yeah, Denise actually has it pretty common.
So the revenue from Camp Ormac was 112,705, with a total net profit of 63,366.
Nice. All right, so our expenditures on this side, 1,315,000, our biggest one in there, community center, it's our staffing, operating expenses, and everything else for the building, about 922,000. Swimming pool, 287,000, summer programming, 106,000. Where are those things? An increase in salary wages that accounts for the staffing for Camp Lower Mat on that side. We included them in there instead of this year we had them in the programming part. Repairs and maintenance, slight increase. That big one for the contracted pool service, about 20,000. We met with the staff as a staff to see if there's a way that we could potentially at some point on in 26, but manage that more in-house or things of that nature as that number continues to kind of blow up. Increase in summer staffing wages, and you basically see, there we are, community center, swimming pool, summer programming is concerts, things of those nature. I think it's interesting to note these cost centers by area. So swimming pool, we generate roughly 140,000. Snack bar, admissions and things of that nature. We're of course over 270,000. So that puts us definitely behind on how we operate the pool. Our biggest part of that though is the contracted service. So as you see there, we can kind of work on that number at some point in the future. That's going to put us in a better position. Summer playground program. We continue to work to expand that. Look at staffing and be creative. If we can shift staffing on days we have later enrollments and work that way. We have an increase in that item for programming. That's our summer concerts, entertainment services, staffing costs, as we said. And you see it's basically salaries for the program, the entertainment group for round-up day, summer concerts, movies, the Shakespeare play, things of that nature. Questions for recreation besides the items we have known for playground and the camp, the day camp.
Good. Questions for the folks?
Just one on the community and thoughts of ever moving that to Saturday.
The reason that it's on a weeknight is because the businesses that we have in the gym had trouble getting away from their businesses on the weekend. Because that's what it is here. So when we first started it years ago, it was to help promote businesses in the township. So it's on Saturday, it's not going to be here.
The only reason why I bring that up is a couple of weeks ago, there was Pittsburgh had their community there on a Saturday. It was a beautiful day, of course, a couple of weeks ago. And it was packed on a Saturday. And they had like local kind of flea market type thing, and crafts,
Right.
as well as, every food truck, which you imagine. And they even have like a quasi kind of car show, there's no charge for the cars,
Right.
getting charged for people bringing their cars.
Mhm.
That was my draw, because I was like, I like the car show, so it's like, what's happening this weekend?
Right,
And it turned out, he wasn't big, but nonetheless, that was one of the draws there.
right,
And they had, obviously, fire department was there, which was, they did the whole helicopter thing like they do here too, but
right.
it was just, it was something different, it was massive. They had a lot.
Right, I guess if, the board would decide at some point that they wanted to change the dynamic of it a little bit. That could be done, it's just that we probably wouldn't be able to have, like, the businesses that are here in the gym. Are here to promote their business, they're not allowed to sell anything on that day, it's just a way for them to let people know that they're here in the township. Which they wouldn't be able to sell things.
I'll say if they fall to the road, like, town carnival.
We need more parking.
I'm still pushing the carnival.
We need more parking. We ran into trouble in 2024. We were parking people over at public work, we were really struggling to find places to park everyone. So that's an issue.
Any other questions?
There's just one thing, like East Texas Park, that's not a bigger park, and it's pretty jammed up already. You got 2 baseball fields, basketball court, parking lot, and there are routes all over that park. So I know you had mentioned the route system, to do something, do a heck of a lot more there, pretty tough. I think we accomplished.
I've always thought looking at that park, and I don't know, it would be great if we could have like, I know we've talked about camera systems before for security, but it would be awesome if we had like a ring camera that was focused on a small baseball field to see how often it's used. Because in my mind, like, you could relocate the tennis courts to that part of the park if we wanted to, if it's not being utilized the way it used to. And move the playground to closer to where the tennis courts are, so you're not adding anything to the park, you're just kind of repurposing some, but without knowing exactly how much goes on in that baseball field, it's hard to determine that. I also don't want to eliminate more tennis courts, I know we have plenty of them, but I know the uproar we had when we took the ones out of here for the pickleball courts for the tennis league, because these were the best ones, they said, so, yeah. Right, but that's not the case, that's it.
Yeah, I would note as we talk about East Texas, and I should, said it earlier, included. We do actually have, about $1 million grant into the state for, the local share of the gambling money on the state level. To look at that part, as far as bathrooms, playground, I don't know if we'll be successful, we may hear, as well in November of this year to see if we're going to get any monies, but. We are kind of anticipating as a staff that part, gets looked at on a greater level too, so. The plan we have is to kind of reconfigure a little bit, but we'll see how supportive we are with all of this.
Well, there is a lot too, I missed the concert hall, concert pavilion there, and the bathrooms are there. But you're right, I'd like to know how often that field to the west is being used.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, we used it for mini bikes.
Well, my kids play there a
There
lot.
was a sign up there, no mini bikes on the baseball.
I just don't,
Yeah, it's my fault.
I don't see it used very often, and that's just maybe you would not drive by at the right time. I mean, my kids played there when they were really little. Baseball, I don't know why baseball, but as, things change and more things become available. I'm just curious,
That is a big space over there, if it's not.
and very flat, it's very flat space.
Yes, and there's no roofs there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the concerts we had there up until 2020, and, COVID, when we had to cancel everything. And then when we brought them back, after we talked, we needed fire police there to direct traffic, not even out of there. And we were running short on parking, there's not a lot of parking there. So then we decided to have all the concerts at Hills at Lockridge because it's big and open. When we brought it back in 2021, people were still a little nervous about being around each other. They could spread out there, there's parking, we didn't need fire police. And it was harder for us to get fire police because a lot of them were getting older and, you know, the younger people weren't coming on, so we didn't have access to them, so we haven't had any, concerts at East Texas since 2019. Although it's a really nice spot, you know, it was even there, benches.
Okay.
Move forward.
Alright, so we're gonna kind of transition, talk a little bit about public works. This will probably be the last year of this kind of split presentation. We're gonna make some adjustments. One of our goals is to make some adjustments to the budget to kind of be more easy to reflect things that we have going through with equipment, maintenance, repairs and whatnot. In our efforts that we are one department now, with one director with four sub-departments. So what does the Public Works Department do, right? All streets, culverts, bridges, parks, facilities, they maintain all of our buildings. Everything on that end, to the highest standards and the expectations. I think, you know, the community should know in the last year plus what they've seen out there from the department. So led by Director of Public Works, there's a special projects coordinator that's assigned to the department, a full-time administrative assistant, 3 crew chiefs, and then 24 full-time employees over there with additional seasonal part-time staffing. That can be anywhere from up to 10 plus in our parks and things in the summertime. So what did we look at for this year? We're still going strong. Worked on our annual road resurfacing program. You see that budgeted this year in the capital budget, as well as the liquid fuels fund for 26. We worked on the replacement of Gun Club Road Bridge, our bridge initiative and our bridge plan. We have both Ash Lane and Smith Lane to finish. You'll see in our 2026 capital budget, Ash Lane Bridge is in. It's out to bid currently and would ask for the board to consider award by the end of the year. Replaced stormwater basin fencing in various locations. You may see Hidden Valley, Pembroke, Dorney, Hills of Lockridge.
Braymore, you know, Braymore, that's me.
Oh, yeah, Graymoor as well. Didn't make the list, but we did it. We looked so far and we've transitioned now to some in-house work. We've done 37 catch basin repairs now in-house. 330 street signs repaired or replaced so far. Over 500 yellow curbs throughout that we're proud of now that that's been accomplished. Mission was received well and accomplished. We've worked to now do some in-house storm pipe work and outfall repair. Over 150 feet of stormwater pipe. We are now utilizing those equipments and talents of our staff. So leaf collection program coming up. We'll deploy the new leaf back truck for the year starting next Tuesday. Worked on overlay paving of Sauerkraut extension from before. Our yard waste and compost center upgrades. If you've been there, there's lanes now and signage and all things making the circulation better there, as well as the permitting project. Stop sign inventory completed with that chapter 15 code update. I don't know how many hundreds of signs have now been documented and will be ready to insert it into the code. 7,686 linear feet of stormwater pipe was videoed by an outside contractor this year. As we work for our stormwater management maintenance plan, we've seen 29,855 feet of corrugated metal pipe in the system. We believe we're almost there. One more year with some final video, and then we'll do that with concrete pipe inspection next. We do see separations in concrete pipe. We'll get on a regular video program. Out of that, we did let a contract this year for about $640,000 to replace 1,600 feet. That was dig and replace of pipe. So I would say if we do some quick long-term planning, we touched 1/15 of the pipe we have out there that's metal. at a cost of $600,000, so we have several $1 million in aggressive. Pipe lining project, you'll see another 400,000 requested from the board in 2026. What are we looking at for that? Road paving and resurfacing, about 650,000 liquid fuels dollars, another 250,000 capital project for fog sealing. We're still short of our 1.4 million needed to get on our plan. But we're mindful of cost. Ash Lane Bridge, not Ash Payne Bridge. I have to tell you about it. It is a pain sometimes. Ash Lane Bridge replacement. We'll continue that stormwater lining program. Look at storm basin fencing replacement. That's also in the capital projects. Continue that curb painting. It looks good in the picture. We're glad to see it with the flowers. In-house now, street patching and repairs that we've done for kind of the first time. Update our snow removal plan. We're working to make sure we're effective with our equipment we have to deploy, as well as staffing. Mr. Cisco will have a complete overhaul to that. He's been through one winter. Probably after this winter, we'll make adjustments and bring that back to the board for your support. Curb analysis, we have a signage for various curb locations throughout the township. We're gonna finish that sign implementation up. We're in process with it now. Work with other departments with those playground installs and everything on that side of it, with recreation, cleaning buildings, making sure sites are prepared for projects. We work well as a team and we'll continue to move that. Our ongoing stormwater video review, you see in that picture, that is our lined culvert pipe now at Chestnut Street. Instead of doing the full culvert replacement, we were able to line that, and that is what the inside of the liner looks like. Some of our highlights, areas that we've adjusted in the budget from this year. Street tree maintenance down slightly. We are processing that now with crews internally. I think we're better handling that, maybe contractor less at this point. Our equipment repairs, as we are working through our fleet plan, we need to increase our equipment repairs. We're finding our maintenance is definitely becoming more and more. Vehicle repairs also increasing, and machine rental, as we're starting to do more things in-house. We rent an excavator at this point several times a year. We're looking to have some special equipment that we don't currently have. Stormwater engineering, increased out with this project for videoing, putting together this plan with Public Works. Our field crew, Pat and Matt, have been out aggressively working on these concerns. And you'll see we've included in your binder a draft plan for stormwater replacement for the next 5 years that the department, as well as those who have been working on. Stormwater repairs and maintenance, we're down a little bit actually. Knowing that we're doing the lining side, our materials and supplies should be in that component. We also decreased our material supply. We're effectively managing what we need. So kind of the expenditures where we are, you see roads, definitely that 1.4 million, stormwater 285, maintenance 400, Public Works admin 259, and a real small winter maintenance number. Case I don't know why we have to use some kind of contractor. Long-term considerations that we always have, right? Potential state required, those unfunded mandates for stormwater, municipal separate storm sewer, as they say. Repairs and maintenance, we're waiting to see as the state cycles out the new plan, what's going to be required of municipalities. We know we spent several $100,000 on the last plan rotation, so we know it's coming. We're always looking at potential salt storage at the quarry site to improve our efficiency. Look at that long-term needs of Public Works facility and long-term planning for building. Funding our road paving, as we said, about $950,000 we know to stay on track, we need about 1.4 million.
Do you think that we, as we look at the long-term need for a public works facility, we fold that into the long-term need, short-term need of a new municipal building?
Yes, I believe that is something we've looked at internally, and we continue to work towards a plan to bring back to the board and community, to show where we are with these facilities. Yes. Some of the shared categories, which, like I said, this will kind of disappear because it's all one department, now under one leadership role. Traffic control devices, we decreased that slightly. That stormwater and drains, that's our pipe video repairs, maintenance, that engineering component and handling complaints. We think, like I said, the stormwater project will be, in a spot. So, parks and facilities, they're kind of, under one combined crew chief right now. In facilities specifically, they take care of everything that we have, from painting buildings to cleaning bathrooms, to repairing playgrounds. One full-time crew chief is shared. We've added a full-time, facility staff member this year. We actually reduced, part-time permanent staffing throughout the other departments, to be able to afford and stay on budget where this is. No part-time staff needed as we have in there. Some of our areas, as we said, we increased our full-time staffing, but we've decreased our part-time staffing in all the various divisions, to make up for that. Our repairs and maintenance increased from 180,000 the previous year to 220. We are keeping that number at 220. We have various projects we want to accomplish, including roofs at several buildings. Shantz over here, sorry, I have to look at the list here. Shepherd Hills Park roof, Shantz Summer Kitchen, some public works overhead doors, things of that nature come out of there. Vehicle repairs, we did increase that as well. Parks on this side, right, all open space, as we said, playgrounds, facilities have traffic lights as well. Park staff, we got that shared crew chief. We're back to full staffing, 6 full-time park staff, and we have those part-time components that run from June to August. What do we do out there? Manage the community center roof replacement project on the old roof this year. We're currently, because we're displaced in this building, working on elevator repairs. Completed some roof updates at Church Lane Park. Park signage program, you'll notice those in the picture. They're popping up through various places, number of big signs. We had sealed 1.7 miles of walking paths. We mulched 12 of our 26 playground facilities. Farmington restroom upgrades for those that haven't been by there. Taking care of the bunker, which is setting pleasing looks now. All the ongoing repairs and maintenance of township facilities. Parking lot lining at all parks has been accomplished, new trash cans and picnic tables. Hopefully the residents appreciate that part. Continue with all of our repairs, utility coordination for compost center building, that's almost online. We've been waiting on UGI for months to get hooked up. Our Crasso Farm Pathway project anticipated to start here as they're gonna be brushing and they've staked out the area in the next several weeks. Traffic signal upgrades with preemption at two locations. We have that budget for 26 as a goal. And as we said, we proactively manage that staff. We effectively brought another person to facilities. We're working without an additional crew chief. And we're making sure that Doug has the staff he needs and getting the feedback for that. So goals for 26.
One quick question.
Yep.
The roof on the bunker, metal or shingle?
Traffic signal, what location?
That is 100 Albertus and 100
Thank you.
26 goals, East Access Playground, as we've extensively discussed. A lighting project at West Coastville softball field, the one that's not lit. West Coastville tennis court resurfacing for those members of the community that we can enhance the tennis court. Hills of Lockridge basketball court, set to be resurfaced. The Shantz, shed roof replacement on the barn. Quarry Park, we're looking at, some fencing replacement for the entrance and around the main drive. Pickleball seating area, as we'll see in the open space maintenance, fund. Camp Olympic Park seating area by the pump park, also budgeted out of that open space maintenance fund. And more pathway sealing. Getting our hands around that, we actually are probably gonna deploy our sealer at some point and see what we've accomplished there. Our trash can and picnic table replacements, they are continuing to ongo. You can't believe how much a trash can costs. Nor believe how many are damaged by those vandals that continue to smash township property. And are causing us thousands of dollars in replacements. The Shepherd Hills Park roof replacement. Areas that we're looking at, as we said, that part-time wages are down. Not staffing that with that permanent part-time. Machinery and equipment parts up a little bit. Repairs and maintenance, that line item's still up from what it was before, that seal coating, parking lots, things of that nature. Contracted service is still at 150,000, we'll work on that number, that's grass cutting.
I will note, just because I think it's important that when you look at parking lots, seal coating, lines. We're not done for a very, 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 very long time, and now they are done, and relatively quickly. So seeing that kind of an increase looks like a lot, but when you consider, and I kid with Doug, the parking lot at the quarry, the small parking lot, I've been going there for 21 years. I've never seen the lines painted once in 21 years. Now they're painted, it looks good, it actually, you know where to park. So yeah, that's more expensive than it has been, but it's because we're actually doing the work.
Yeah, we've accomplished, that line painting, everything was all in-house line painting, facilitate that. There's our expenditures, just kind of a look, of course, the biggest one, salaries, then that repairs and maintenance, and then all the small things in there, rental property repairs, general expense, minor equipment, uniforms. They're slightly smaller, but everything that goes into that, on the pie chart. When we look at parks, right, same thing, salaries on that side, repairs and maintenance, and then everything else, that contracted service, and all the small things, that are included in there, small tools, machinery parts, general expense. Very, salary and, labor driven to accomplish our mission. I will say, before we kind of transition out of here, we've included, 2 draft components, for the board at the end of the public works request section. I tapped, they went in today, that's why there's a delay in the books. There is a component for a fleet management plan, an extensive 5-year fleet management plan. As well as a 5-year stormwater, repair and maintenance plan. Those are draft plans. They do integrate, equipment that you see in the 2026 budget. We'll ask you for feedback, and just so we don't get the bogged down kind of in the budget things, since it's the first time we're seeing a fleet management plan. We'll be ready to discuss those at the workshop, the actual township workshop, with the board, and get feedback and see what you think of, seeing that picture. So we're excited, wanted you to have that, component. Know we're working on it, I promised that we would have one. And
where is it located?
it's back by your department report, it's like a little smaller.
White tab at the top.
Oh, okay.
One
Yeah.
more, I think the one above.
I'll go above the.
Yep, that.
One's fleet, one's stormwater.
Okay.
So we'll look for your feedback on that part at the next, like I said, the board workshop. So then we can approve those kind of plans and look forward. So questions on public works, we'll look at sewers and then we'll be.
That maintenance, that went up. Do we do a lot of that work in-house, or is that contracted out the majority of it? Which maintenance? Jump.
Maintenance,
The jump, what, 40,000?
both. Some things chipped out. We don't Public Works doesn't have a true full-time account.
That's what I mean, is,
So-
what's the percentage, the majority farmed out?
I can,
Because if it is, I'm leading up to it, and I've been saying this every budget. Are we getting bidding on these jobs? Or are we just sending it, or we always send it?
well,
And that's if the percentage is like 50 or 60 or 75% going out.
no, I don't think, no, it's not that. No.
You know, approximately what
I
it is,
basically 30%. It's almost especially jobs we can't do in-house.
right?
It's a job that can't type, especially winter time, the truck is down. And we don't have the workforce to keep that truck, how that truck needs to be fixed, the gas needs to be fixed. If it's a smaller job, we can well in-house, we have a guy go in-house, most in house, so we can't especially do. Contract out for a cracked windshield or something like that, we can't replace the windshield in-house.
Right.
We'll send it out to call the best person or close by. But with that bidding threshold, we can't go with every single thing go and price check. We do a due diligence, make sure we're a reasonable price, but if it's a guy looking for a windshield, we're gonna call for people with the best price.
Well, that's what I meant, if there was a big number being farmed
Well,
out.
if it's a big number, the number would go, I make sure I oversee it.
No, I think, not necessarily.
Oh, yeah, it's
Quantity, percentage going out.
Yeah, there's a lot we've been asked. If you look at the fleet plans, I didn't include with it, is. Here's about a couple hundred pages of our inspection sheets, our daily things that the in-house guys do. I know when one day you guys are all listening, there's every little thing, every vehicle we've done to track, we just done in-house. So you get a true cost of what they do internally, is look by parts, get parts from vendors that we do in-house, but
How many contract mechanics do we have? Companies,
it all varies, it differs, I mean, I bet there could be up to 20, it all depends. We do the inspections and state inspections are in-house, we're certified state mechanics come in and make sure our code, everything's up to date, it's yearly by state. So our inspections are in-house.
and then too, what you said, Bruce, I'm assuming that, fleet management will play into our maintenance.
Well, of course, yeah, because we have a
If
vehicle.
we're gonna.
And as we go down, we go down this
year,
road, if you go down this road, Bruce, right now, that we have vehicles that are past the lifetime that we shouldn't be putting money back in. Same thing with mowers, that's just because of the trucks, it's mowers, pickup trucks and everything. And that's that fleet plan does, it kind of gives you a perspective of the next 5 years. It's liquid, it's not concrete that something unforeseen happens, you might have to replace a different truck because of an engine repair, or if an engine's not worth replacing. So that's what's at, I mean, there's a dynamics of it, I think with not having a crew. Full-time staff, mechanic is, he's two works with mechanic stuff, but technically not. Full-time.
Well, if he's covering 70-something%.
Well, we have helpers, I mean, we have helpers constantly, we haven't developed, for example, if we need something specially welded. That we know that. Needs to be certified welding, we're gonna send to a professional welder, as opposed to having. Joe Smith know welding package stuff, so we probably the township's responsibility. But no, I know what you're saying, yeah, we try to curtail, we try to do as much things we can in-house.
Well, and the reason I brought all this up, we've seen the good results of breaking the status quo over the years, when you came on. It's like the curbs, all this work getting done, so if we would break the system of constantly going at A, B, and C. Maybe we could,
And I have,
save a couple.
in the time I've been driving, that's one of the aspects I have watched to make sure that we're just not sending out to. I'm not accusing anybody going out to friends or other people, make sure it's going.
I'm not talking friends, I'm
No,
talking.
no,
Quality and power.
no, making sure it's going to a reliable source.
Well, if friends can do it at a good job. but it's
Yeah,
better cost,
I'm just saying,
let
making
them have it.
making sure it's going to the right place, not just getting out of status quo. Me learning the vendors, who these vendors are. We're supposed to say we're paying something to Joe's, who's Joe? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I think the other part, we know on the maintenance and repairs and things like parks. We have certain things in there too that are, I would say projects too, not just for repairs, fence at a park or. Those basketball court repairs that are gonna go in there for Hills of Lockers, like things that are actually maybe. A little more substantial, but they're in that maintenance component for the actual maintenance repair, not equipment, maintenance and repairs and replacement, so. Just kind of a breakdown, it's not everything we repair, but we have thinking, so.
But sometimes those small contractors that are qualified really save us money.
All right, talk to yours, and then I'll let everybody go if they're not asleep already at this point.
Question, yeah.
I just want to ask, the Westbrook softball legacy, was that kind of a long-term plan, or is that just an increase in?
Yeah, so, we've been talking about, facilities, especially that one. One of the requests that we've had, lately from LMT has been, since we don't give them cash contributions anymore, one of the things they identified in our regular meetings is the need for additional softball and having that field lit, to go there, so that's why we brought it back kind of, as that plan for 26, to get that up and running.
And in the, I'm not sure who this question for, in the reduction of the, here at the center, reduction of part-time staff, increase full-time staff, what does that net out to in,
It does, it's a little bit of an increase, and I can pull the specific numbers for you, Julie. It's more like, we're trying to engage that rec supervisor spot to try to generate that more programming and things of that nature, so it's actually additional, from where it was. And then the part-time staffing did increase because we were running, I don't want to misspeak, and Denise, you probably know on the Camp Lower Mount program. But we put 20 to 30 more counselors on for 10 weeks, so we saw, as Denise described, $112,000 program, but it cost us $65,000, and most of that's labor, so that number did increase, and the part-time or the full-time rec supervisor did increase. But in the case of a part-time, you realize through programming, benefit in rent.
well,
Like that
this
makes sense.
program, you have the flip side, you do get some revenue coming in from programs.
Correct.
That's, and there's two pieces of that, plus I was just thinking of the revenue staff. Just curious.
Right, the summer camp staff was an additional 22 seasonal part-time people. But the revenue, the profit that we, got from that program was over 60,000. So,
So it has been increasing, I would say, they both haven't decreased, or we haven't been able to have. But much like in public works, where, we have permanent part-time individuals there, which we never utilize. We use seasonal, but we budgeted for seasonal staffing plus one permanent part-time in each division, facility, roads, and parks. But we never utilized that. So what we did was we actually reduced that side in public works and added additional staffing component in facility. So with recreation, we've needed those part-time counselor staff and attendants. So plus what we're trying to do with the recreation staff, so we haven't seen that inverse kind of reaction, if that makes sense. Yeah. Huh? All right, let's talk sewers, so, through piping and ground, of course, our conveyance, 125 miles, 4,000 manholes. We convey our sewer to the Lehigh Valley Authority. The sewer fund is established, we call it internally the 08 fund, to pay for those expenses of where we are. We have maintenance, servicing, billing, oversight of the system, and we have a Department of Public Works, overseen by the Public Works Director, that has a full-time sewer crew chief, a staff of 4 full-time employees in that side of it, sewage enforcement officer under code, and an administrative staff that we split budget for. Since it's a quarter of the Public Works Department, quarter is Public Works Director, Assistant Finance Director has to deal with billing and things of that nature. Administrative Assistant in Public Works takes calls for sewers and sewer issues, and the outside billing firm that we contract with to bill. So where we are on our accomplishments, 2,064 PA1 calls that we process throughout year-to-date numbers. So we're actually up a little bit from last year. 938 manhole inspections, the sewer crew, will be upset if I didn't tell you that their goal is 1,000 sewer manhole inspections for the year. They're determined, so, I'm not gonna take that away from them. There will be 1,000 manhole inspections, for this year, so we're a quarter of the way through. 322 sewer lateral inspection reports, so when houses transfer, it's necessary that they turn those in. Our staff members review and evaluate those, private laterals, to make sure they're not leaking inflow and infiltration. Flushed, 277 sewer lines, videoed internally 66,000 feet of sewer line. Dramatically up from about 48,000 last year, which the guys are getting it done there. So you see the sewer van, repaired 41 manholes up from 17. The big part of our capital project this year, line 21,000 plus feet of sewer main line, our cured in place plastic pipe SIP lining for main line is now complete, after all this time. Worked through the capital, vacancy, program. I didn't bring my demonstrator tonight, of the vacancy that I have. Everybody made fun of me, but I have that if you want to see it when we talk capital projects. Grab that for you guys so that you know where we're going on the capital. Where we are on, we had a kind of a major line repair behind the tennis courts in West Coesville that we provided oversight for. We're working to maintain, sewer right of ways, so cutting brush, taking the skid steer back, some of our other mowers, knocking that down. Working on that sewer pump station operations agreement, which, the board's gonna see for the Mertztown pump station, hopefully at the next meeting. We're on chapter 18. We have to update, as you saw at the last meeting, our sewer districts, extra strength charges that we received from the authority. We've received their 2026 rates, which are increased. We will pass those on to our extra strength commercial users. We'll have that to accomplish. What are we looking to do here? We've looked at the possible, force main system for East Texas Road down by, Riverbend Fish Hatchery, thank you. We're still in the, design phase of that. Design's almost done. I don't know what permitting's gonna take, so we're thinking if we can get that for 26, we're gonna try. Brick manhole rehab project, those 1,000 inspections that we've done, we found some brick manholes. Bricks on the top part of the bell, we're gonna have to kind of redo. We're gonna inspect over 1,000 again, we're gonna set the bar high. Work on our sewer lateral, replacement and repair project. We have 3,000 laterals, potentially out there to address the transition point of the private lateral to the township, component from that lateral to the main line. With that back to T project, about 8,000 apiece. So we only have 24 million, maybe more to go, until we're done with that infrastructure project. We're gonna keep those rights of ways clear to maintain. We're gonna review, sewer rates, not for 26, we're recommending they stay, at their current rate. But we're gonna do a reevaluation for 27. We, aren't sure yet with how everything's shaking down with the authority by 2035. Of course, their number has shrunk a little bit. We'll wait to see how the DEP approves that plan we just looked at. And, we're still continuing to recommend to the board, about 2.5 to 3.5%, sewer rate increases when we can, so that consumers aren't hit with a 30% rate increase in 2033 or 2035. So, we don't like to raise rates. We know it's coming. We probably have between 40 and 80 million coming up in our obligation, that side of it. So, we want to be proactive. Where our revenues come from? Interest earnings, we have those, a little bit conservative. Sewer connection permits, the big one, right, that drives us, ratepayers that pay, for the conveyance, both for their flat fee and their usage. 5.1 million, as we said, no proposed rate hike. Extra strength charges, that is when you put those, additional, flows from businesses, suspended solids, all the other, acronyms that they have for that. The authority does a sampling program, they go out, they pull a sample, they look, they determine what that is, they then bill the township, and then we bill, those, extra components, 75,000. Penalties for people that don't pay their sewer bill, wastewater allocation, fees for, those new tap-ins. Sewer certifications, when houses transfer, they have to get a certification form, their bills are paid, and then on-lot permits. Once again, all rate driven by the customer. That's why it's so critical we make sure rates are where they need to be to support this operation. So. This quick pie chart. Capital projects. So as we said, we're gonna budget about 1.2 million, about 1.25 for these upgrades and projects, the manhole and lateral repairs. If we get the East Texas line extension, which was about 350 grand, we might have to include that and reduce some of the I&I component, but I don't know if we'll have permitting. Really, so we'll list it, but we're gonna look for flexibility from the board on how that happens. Those lateral repairs, as we said, we'll start as many as we can. Our strategy this year is, we've identified now various CoStar approved vendors that can do that work. And hopefully we can get it without additional markups on bidding. Major equipment, as you see in the fleet plan, and as proposed by Doug, we need to upgrade our sewer camera that we have there, so 10,000. We're proposing the purchase of a one-ton dump truck. It changes things up a little bit there. They don't have a dump truck in their fleet. So we want to kind of change the status quo, as mentioned earlier, and look to get that purchased. And then also a new F-250 pickup. Currently, the one utilized by crews and crew chief actually was funded by the road side of it at one point. We're gonna shift that truck back to roads and make sure that this part of the pickup's done. So those are our capital projects. We think they're pretty forward and where we are. We are required by our source reduction plan that we approved and submitted to continue our aggressive inflow and infiltration work. So this gives us a balanced budget. We're not spending in the reserves and we're not raising rates to accomplish our mission. So we are mindful, as I said, that source reduction plan is driving these repairs. So there are our expenditures, the biggest part, what we pay to the authority for those various 14 agreements that we have dating back to like 1977. That lays out, we should owe them about 2.5 million. So out of the 5 million we collect from ratepayers, 2.5 million is going to the authority. So we are managing with the rest of that for salaries, repairs, maintenance, insurances, staff, capital projects. Highlights of things we need to watch. We've said it. The authority continues to engage in projects that we're a part of, whether it be generator repairs, wastewater pump stations, things of that nature that increase our percent. Part of the agreements we are in that. We need to make sure that we kind of account for that and know that it's coming, and we've seen an increase in those capital projects. I'm I'll be doing my due diligence, and I'll tell the board if this is happening. Those large scale LCA projects are coming. The Western Lehigh Interceptor, which we are a group of that runs from Upper McConjee to the plant to MLK Boulevard, is right now targeted at $90 million. We flow, 40% through that line. We are going to be on the hook for $35 to $40 million. I want to make no mistake and say that it's not coming, it's coming. But planning for that project alone, we contributed, in excess of $500,000 for engineering with Upper McConjee. So it's here for us. So we got to look at that reevaluation of rates in 26 and 27 to make sure we go to PFM, we make sure that the adjusted numbers, we started at in excess of 200 million with the authority. That number is now probably 90 to 100. That may change our rate projection. We want to make sure that we are not overcharging residents, so, important keys for us. Questions?
You say it's coming, you know when?
They're saying,
And I only ask this because, Brian and I we've been hearing it's coming for 15 years.
2033 to 20, I have a layout that I could share with the board. The anticipated dates are like 2033 for potential, all the site acquisition to happen for the line, 2035 to like let contracts for where that is. So that's what we've been provided. I'll make sure
So that could be a decade out.
yeah, it's a decade out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's why it's important for us to look at a percent or two at a time, right? So that it doesn't come to year 7, 8, 9, where we're now trying to make up 30% increase.
and I don't wanna sound like a broken record, but a decade out, again, Brian and I heard this plan change, what, 3, 4, 5 times? And that, it was all over the road, and maybe this one will not. And, 80 years old, I may see that it didn't change.
I mean, I think that I'm still going to be working here. Maybe I'll get to retire when any of these things actually finally happen because of the pace, as you say, that it is. But I have to at least give you some long-term planning on it. I mean, do I think it might happen? Probably not. I mean, but I don't know. I got a plan that's going to. So, all right. Questions on that? Did I cover everything that we wanted to look at?
Hey, I got one question that it's off the wall, but yeah, the sewage facility, the township's has to build out in Spring Creek. Is that gonna have generator backup? And I may have asked you this before, the electricity backup.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. To keep the pumps running, yeah, we have to have that component. I guess we have one more thing, maybe if we're gonna talk debt service. Did we say we were gonna talk debt service? All right, let's talk debt service real quick. Sorry. So that's good, Julie.
Okay, you're aiming for 1,000 manhole covers inspections a year, how many manhole covers are there?
4,000. We have over 4,000 minimums.
I missed it.
Yeah, so we're
3 more years, we know.
yeah, 3 more years. So we always average, a couple hundred. They were in a 10-year rotation, couple hundred. What we've done is, through the authority, the authority's engineer, Arcadis, they actually have a, GIS capture system now for the inspection reports. So we've deployed iPads and phones out in the street. They are photoing the lids, the actual assemblies, and they're documenting that now so we can map those components. So that's a change from the paper, and a little bit one issues that they were having. So, yeah, definitely working out for us. They're proud of that side. I saw, one of the guys doing it, he made sure in my office yesterday to tell me, you make sure that we're doing 1,000, no quitting. And I said, all right, so yeah. 4 years, they'll be done.
And they'll be good for 6 years, but not.
Now we know they can do 1,000, they're gonna be doing it every 4 years, right? We're good. Come on.
They're going 1,200.
We're gonna keep on.
They don't know that yet, they are.
Alright, so let's talk debt services. This is a quick one, basically, because it's just in and out. Debt service fund, we call Fund 19. So we have to set up a debt service fund to pay back the debt instruments that we have, including let's get this slide on. Alright, so basically it's funded by 3 things here. The general fund, that is that loan to the county for the radios. So that is a new thing for us for 5 years. So we transfer from the general fund for the radio project. We transfer from the capital budget for the rest of the community center financing and some open space that we did, and then all of our open space transfers. You see, it's fairly large now with our financing for those pieces. So
Hey, to interrupt you, that radio transfer, that, the public should know, that's interest free, correct?
correct, 0% interest.
And that's a big thing to know.
Yeah, about $500,000 project. Yeah, and the county did give that interest free for us. So the only downfall was we had it now listed on our debt. So that looks at our debt rating that we owe 500 grand, even though the emergency services are paying us, so.
Well, that's your question, Frank, was that a good thing?
Small compared to what you have a triple bond rating, so it's minuscule compared to what 2025 borrowing was 6-9 million.
6 million,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's small.
We list 500, we still have another, they were capable of about 38 million more, so we're still in a good spot. But how much does this fund cost us, right? 2,927,000, it's all coming from funds, so. All funds transfer, you notice it as a line item, in there. Okay, it might be that too. And put her down, so there we go. Alright, so. What do we look at? What does this thing do? It pays debt, so, 2 million of that is debt principal, another 700,000 is debt interest, so. That's the 2.9 million, that's how the breakdown, what's the debt for, right? People always ask, what do we have here outstanding? So. Original note before I got here was for community center and some open space. We refinanced that in 2021, kept the same term. You know. 6.5 million, that will go until 2030. 2022, as we said, issuance for open space, that purchased the Doherty tract. That was a 5-year bank note. We'll see because I haven't broken down. 2024, we issued bonds for 25 years for 9.7 million for Dan Weber out on Lower McCungy Road, that preservation. And then the one we issued at the beginning of this year for 6 million for Faith, Pillaresky, Views, all of those projects in open space that we have been aggressive pursuing.
Those streets closed,
It has. It's not quite fun. 2021, there is, and I always put this out right now, we pay for part of that open space out of the open space fund. 2026 is the last year of that, so 27 to 30, we're not gonna have that full debt component out of that 1.3 million we get in capital, in tax dollars, the capital fund. 1/2 of it will be for debt repayment, so we're going to have to consider in 27 additional funding or additional adjustments or reduction in capital projects. 2022, that is that open space, the 5-year bank note. 26 is the last year of that borrow, so that comes off of our balance sheet. So that was a $6.114 million loan. This big year, 26 is our final payment. So that's going to then free up additional dollars in the open space fund. Our 2024 issuance, I have noted 20 till 2049. You see, that is why we're using additional fund balance in that account for 26 to start to pay that off. We were going to defer it, but we ended up moving it forward. About 650,000 for the next, 25 years, 24 years to pay that debt off. Unless we look at refund. 20 refund bonds. 2025 open space, that's a 15-year debt until 2039. You'll see as it rolls in 277 and then goes to 600. So when we look at the open space fund, 600 in the 25-year finance, 600 in the 15-year finance, 1.2 million of 2.2 million is spent on debt servicing. We have an additional 500 after 26 and 27 for maintenance and repairs, and the rest of the money can go and start to be banked for additional purchases. That is the debt service in out, fairly simple questions, concerns with anything we've talked about tonight at all. I would say if the board could, like I said, I apologize for getting the documents when you did. Just check it out, let us know if you have questions or concerns. I'd like to talk liquid fuels and capital next meeting. Unless there's, we need additional time for the third meeting. I would say gather thoughts, and then we'll hit that fourth meeting on the fifth with our follow-up, sanitation, open space maintenance, and then just a general review. Anything the board wants to talk about or give us direction on, and we can then adjust before we get final.
Thank you for no eye test, so.
You can thank, Ms. Flexer, she, made that slideshow fantastic so that everybody could read it. She cleaned up my eye test slideshow, so, but seriously, if you have questions or concerns, Anne Marie, you know, she's hit the ground running here. We have time to meet with the board or board members if you have questions or concerns, or see things that we might have missed, please, just reach out, and we'll make sure we make them.
Yeah, my only request is that you, look especially at the capital budget for our next meeting, because that's always where we have to decide what to do, what not to do based on the funds that are there. It's probably the most scrutinized part of this, that is the property tax, that's what it goes to. So any thoughts, any concerns, just have those for the next meeting, so that we can move this process along, and like every year, have a balanced and approved budget on time, unlike other parts of the country.
Yeah, we're looking for that approval consideration, the second meeting of November, just for the public. That budget then sits lies to state for review for the public to make comments for an adoption of the second December meeting, so that we're ready to go for the beginning of the year. At that second December meeting, we also adjust the homestead rate, tax rates, all the fees on our fee schedule, so that we're ready to hit the ground. So that's the process.
Good. Any public questions?
I got one.
Yes,
Can
Commissioner.
we get a copy of the presentation for next week?
Of course,
And then,
I will put a disclaimer on that says, I still make adjustments sometimes on what you talked about, so I will.
it's easier
get
to
it.
follow instead of.
Yep.
And, you came up about the taxes, and what Brian hit on earlier, you know, the school district is not cooperating with us at all. And then we just want our citizens to know, because they always tie school district tax to our. I totally explained to them that our taxes, it's one of the lowest in Lehigh Valley. And school districts just keep going. And they do not cooperate. And it was brought up about Lower Macungie, the elementary school, Lower Macungie Road, how we were not even told that went up for sale till it was sold. You know which one I mean? Legend Crops in Lower Macungie. That really, I get more questions about that than anything. And, what else?
That's a school that was closed and then reopened and then closed and sold without anybody knowing.
Without anybody knowing, not even offered to the township, and maybe we would not have wanted it, but there's there's not much cooperation,
There's zero cooperation.
right?
I bring up all the time to people that they had 3 committees last year to study facilities. They had a high school committee, they had a middle school committee, they had an elementary school committee. I purposely asked to be on the high school facilities committee and was never invited to be. So there was, as far as I know, and this could be wrong, but there was not one person from any of the sending municipalities part of that discussion in how they're going to upgrade or replace their facilities, which is criminal when it comes right down to it.
And you're gonna get us rent details, I just mentioned,
Yeah, red details.
and that's it, but we talked a little bit about garbage. I think the township does have a handle on garbage now, because you got that one container and that's it. And you know, it's a school, going back to the school tax, that's what's driving the seniors out of here. You know, we show an increase in the cost of living and prices, but the senior social security checks do not jump to keep up with that rate. Not at all. And since I retired, I helped 3 seniors out, and they call me and I roll out their garbage cans And I look in and there's two little, grocery bags of garbage in there. And, it's just, township's doing a great job, but the school district is gonna price people out.
Well, I think what's concerning, I can give, a little bit of insight, at least from the staff side, right, is that the school district continues to, relentlessly make their adjustments, and at some point, when this township does have to have a consideration of asking a board, that's mindful of tax dollars, that we may need an increase in taxes to accomplish all the things that you're seeing, that people will be priced out because the school district, there is no give then at that point. There is nothing left for the township to then go and ask our citizens to do, and that could put us in a difficult situation where, everyone has been very mindful to do what we're able to do with what we have, and at some point, we might not be able to, and because of the district and their spending plans, and, we will be behind. So it's just something on that end to think about.
Don't forget that one. Let's go.
Right, well,
And-
and what did you get?
And
Oh, they're asking again this year.
half of the earned income tax, the 1% goes to the school district, which is also, people don't realize, because you pay it here.
Right. I did, well, I just looked at this tonight, that's in there. For me, that's,
I didn't include it in the budget, so unless you gentlemen would like it, you could look at that part of the grants. I did not leave that forward in my proposed budget.
And it should be less because they eliminated one. It should be asking for less, they go,
If they want to fair.
right, yeah, they eliminated at least one across the board, so. All right,
that's it.
with that,
That puts the key order, right?
we are adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Sure.